All right, Clarissa, it's really nice to meet you. Thanks for spending time with me this morning.
Yeah, of course.
You have a company called Four Leaf Clover. You can find it at fourleafclover.net, find it at the farmer's market.
Yep.
Tell me what it is that you do.
Yeah, so I started my business because I have two rescue pit bulls who both came from severe backgrounds. They had a whole bunch of health issues, nutritional deficiencies. My dogs Stella and Luna. So Stella struggles with allergies, like severe allergies, where I had a very hard time finding food to feed her. She would constantly break out under her underbelly. It was always like bright pink and red, and it would be peeling off. And then she has yeast issues and gastrointestinal issues. And then my dog Luna, I rescued her as a puppy at 4 months old. She was abandoned and she had demodectic mange. So she basically had no fur. I have no cute puppy pictures of her because she was a very pitiful puppy.
Yeah.
Um, and she had parasites because they were left untreated for so long because she was just abandoned. So she also has like gastrointestinal issues, a very sensitive stomach. So I had them on a prescription diet food and it wasn't working at all. It was very expensive. We would get it from my vet and it just I didn't see why I was paying all this money for this special prescription diet when you read the ingredients and there's actually no medicine in it. And it's cornstarch and sugar and gluten. And I'm like, wait, this is not medicine. So I stopped feeding it. I did some research on my own and I started making their own food with fresh foods, no grains, that I would get from a local butcher in Richmond. And about 3 months into that, I completely saw a huge transformation. So that's kind of what inspired me to start my own business. And I became a certified canine nutritionist. And ever since then, I've just been advocating for like a biologically appropriate diet for dogs because they are facultative carnivores. And unfortunately, a lot of the treats and the foods that we see in the grocery stores and even pet stores is not healthy for them. So,
And these sound like very human problems too, stomach or pooping problems, allergies, and it seems very consistent. Dogs, of course, are a lot of people's babies. So why wouldn't you do for them what you do for, our own system? So when did you start preparing this stuff to sell?
so this is my second year in business. I started like literally right in the middle of the pandemic of
Yeah.
2020. I started in May of 2020. So I'm about a year and a half into it. And it's been perceived really well. So and a lot of my customer base are people whose dogs have health, like special health issues or allergies, and they can't really feed a lot of treats.
Mhm.
So a lot of my customers like my treat specifically because there's no grains, there's no synthetic preservatives, there's nothing artificial in them. And then Stella's superfood biscuits don't have any meat in them. So if your dog has like meat allergies, which at one point we were there with Stella, where like she could only have like two proteins, and I could never
Ah,
find treats in those proteins. So our superfood biscuits don't have any meat in them, specifically if your dog is allergic to like every protein.
okay. So
So
do you offer like counseling or like guidance with the diet in addition to retailing these treats and food?
So yes, but it's just me like having conversations with my customers. It's not
Mhm.
anything that I'm like charging for.
Right.
Part of the reason why I love doing what I do is to talk to people and educate people. And even if like they can't feed my treats or buy something from me, just giving them knowledge and education, like, okay, well, I think that this is a really good brand for you, or giving them recipes so they can make their own stuff. So
Awesome. Awesome.
it's just conversations with people that
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think that's one of the beauties of a small business is that you can spend that kind of one-on-one time with someone and really understand the ingredients, what the manifestation of consuming those ingredients is, where they come from. I know you locally source and combine organic food together. Was that a difficult thing to try to pull all that together and like get all these ingredients to create your food?
So not really. So I'm very lucky to be in Fauquier County, because if one farm doesn't have something that I need, there's another farm down the road that does.
Mhm.
So Fauquier County, it's very, very easy to source locally. So I feel lucky in that sense. I also use a lot of cuts and meats that people don't usually buy. So
Yeah.
I use a lot of liver, heart, kidney, chicken feet for bone broth, chicken heads.
Yeah, I
So
saw the
there's,
picture on your website of the
yeah,
dehydrated chicken heads.
yeah, I love those. I always call them like nature's multivitamin,
Yeah.
because what I don't do anything with them. I literally just stick them in the dehydrator. So they have all of the brain, the eyes, the connective tissue from the skull. So they contain like essentially almost every single nutrient and vitamin that a carnivore needs. So I always call them like nature's multivitamin.
That makes perfect sense to me. And you're validated by this movement among, the carnivore movement and the organ meat. A lot of people are prioritizing getting organ meat into their diet. And anecdotally, I have a 7-year-old retriever that when we feed her food off the shelf at the grocery store, she acts like she's 10 or 12. But when we feed her, a diet like you feed your dogs, and she's got moments where you'd swear she's a puppy.
Yeah, and I'm a huge believer in like food is medicine, and then glandular therapy, which means that organ and tissues contain all of the essential vitamins for our organs and tissues.
Mhm.
So for example, if you feed heart, it's gonna contain like CoQ10, DHA, and like the healthy omega fatty acids. So like organs contain things that our organs need as well. So I do a lot of like dehydrated heart, dehydrated kidney, for that reason.
Have you taken a nibble of any of those?
Yes. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of organ meat.
Yeah.
I I I try, but I don't know. I feel like if I had a good recipe for myself, maybe I
Yeah.
could, but I'm not there yet.
So you've been at the farmer's market. Have you been there for 1 year or 2 years?
So this is my second year at the farmer's market.
So tell me about your very first day at the farmer's market. You've got this new business, you've got your own table set up. Like, how did that feel going into that?
So I was really, really nervous. And a lot of people, they say, "Oh, a dog bakery, what is that?" Like nobody really knew
Yeah.
what I was selling. Um, yeah, I didn't go to sleep the night before. I got up at 4 a.m. and just loaded my car, and I got there at 5 a.m. And I remember just like setting up and being really nervous and like thinking, oh my God, how embarrassing is it going to be if nobody buys my product? Like I was literally like preparing myself for the fact that I might sit here for 4 hours and nobody's going to buy anything from me.
Yeah.
Um, but luckily that wasn't the case. I think I sold out in like 2.5 hours. So it was, yeah, not to say that I still like wasn't super nervous or.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I was going to, sell Tyler's doohickeys and widgets at the farmer's market, like what advice would you give me, to kind of mentally prepare to get into it?
Um, I would say make sure that you have like talking points to give to customers, and make sure that you have a lot of signage. One thing that I always laugh at and I always joke about with other people is I'm selling dog treats, but every single farmer's market I go to, I always get one customer who thinks that I'm selling something for people. And I have like dogs everywhere. I have a massive dog on my sign. I have like dog treats like on my tent. And I have like a banner that says dog treats. And still, every single farmer's market, I get somebody who comes up to me and says, "Oh, these are for people." And I'm like, "Nope, they're for dogs."
You may have an untapped market for
Yeah.
dehydrated chicken heads in humans. You can't impose your own discernments on the public.
I mean, you might be right. Yeah.
So as somebody that's set up as a vendor at the farmer's market, I'm sure you're also a customer of the farmer's market. Is there
Mhm.
any particular table that you just can't wait to get to every weekend?
So I really like Happy Family Ranch. I've been to their farm. I know the owners, and their meat I think is one of the best. They're grass fed. They don't feed any corn or soy, and they're grass fed and grass finished, which is
Yeah.
really hard to find.
Mhm.
So I'm a big fan of them. Obviously Freed's biscuits, like obviously.
Obviously. Yeah. Shout out to
Yeah,
Josh.
yeah. And then I really like okay, this is so bad. I can't remember the name of his business, but the coffee guy,
Mhm.
he's like diagonally across from my booth. He has amazing coffee. So I always try to get him right when I get there.
Awesome. I'm
But
sure he's popular tent first thing.
yes, but I mean, I think every single farmers market booth, everybody who's at the Warrenton farmers market is amazing. I have never had a bad experience shopping with anybody. So
Cool. That's
yeah.
awesome. And you would be a popular place to go if you want to go scratch the belly of a couple of the dogs that attend.
Yes. Yeah.
So you've been doing this business for only 18 months or so. What did you give up or stop doing to pursue this?
So to be I don't feel like I gave up anything. I feel like I gained a lot. I just actually made a post on Four Leaf Clover social media the other day, just basically thanking my customers for supporting my business, because I feel like this business has given me like a reason to wake up every morning, and it's given me purpose. And I don't think I really had that before I started this.
Yeah.
I've worked as a vet tech before and hated it. It was awful. And to be honest, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Like I was very lost before I started this business. So I don't think I've given up anything. I mean, I've made sacrifices. Like I can't tell you the amount of nights that I've literally stayed up in my kitchen all night baking. So I've given up a lot of sleep,
Mhm.
but um I would say I've gained more from doing this than I've lost more.
That's beautiful. That's wonderful. I'm happy to hear that and happy
Yeah,
for the success that you're having.
thank
So
you.
what's maybe the most popular product that you sell?
So the biscuits are always the most popular just
Mhm.
because people can use them as training treats. And they're kind of like my go-to, like the staple that I have every week. I will say that the bully sticks are probably a close second. And they'd probably be a tie if I could source them more regularly.
Yeah.
The bully sticks, they're made out of dehydrated beef pizzle. And I don't know if you know what beef pizzle is. It is a bull's penis.
Ah,
Um,
there's not
yep.
enough. There's a market for bull's penis that is
Yes.
underserved right now. So if you have
Yeah.
extra bull penis, call Clarissa. She's looking for it.
I would gladly take it off your hands for you. Yeah. But like cows only have one, so
Okay.
they're very hard to source.
Mhm.
And I can only get them after a cow's been processed.
Yeah.
And yeah. So those are always a top seller. I always sell out of those very quickly.
What are Stella and Luna's favorite treats?
So so it's funny that so I would say both of my dogs probably like Luna's the best.
Mhm.
Those are the ones that are made with locally sourced beef liver, olive oil, sardines, and parsley. And then Stella's superfood biscuits, those are made with peanut butter, pumpkin, coconut oil, chia seeds, turmeric, and ginger.
Wow.
Um, Yeah, I tell people if your dog is really picky, I would definitely go with Luna's delectable treats, just because they smell like fish and liver. So the
Yeah.
smell like usually always gets a dog's attention. And I have yet to meet a dog who didn't like them. So if your dog is picky, I'd go with that one. And then if your dog has a sensitive stomach or has like allergies and yeast, I would definitely go with Stella's superfood biscuits.
What's the most common customer for you? Someone comes to you and says, "Hey, Clarissa, my dog is experiencing this."
So it's definitely allergies.
Mhm.
The thing, yeah, it's 100% allergies. And I always try to ask them a little bit more questions because allergies is so broad. Like, is it environmental allergies? Is it food allergies? Is there something in their diet that they're allergic to? And it could also be a gut issue too. It's not always allergies because a lot of the symptoms of allergies also kind of mimic an imbalance in their gut. So it's kind of like asking them questions, figuring out what kind of food they're feeding, and then going from there. So, but I mean, I feel like in general, though, just dogs in today's society, I would say about 90% of them struggle with severe allergies. And it's because the commercial pet food industry, if you look at like the top 10 best-selling dog foods, they're prone to give your dog allergies. They're horrible.
Yeah.
So,
No, I know from personal experience, I know I can be sensitive to grain. The second I eat like a Cliff Bar or something, my fingers start to hurt, my toes start to hurt, my shoulders are tight. But if I go a couple days without, I feel amazing. And I've
mhm.
worked really hard to be hyper aware of the way I feel all the time. And I know a lot of people don't do that for themselves, let alone pay attention to the way that their dog feels. So, like,
Yeah.
what are some of the symptoms to be on the lookout for that your dog might have allergies and might benefit from cleaning up their diet a little bit?
Well, the other thing too that I just want to mention is even if your dog food is grain free, a lot of the grain free dog foods on the market are also really bad because they replace the grains with legumes and chickpeas, which
Ah,
then contributes to heart issues.
mhm.
So they're just replacing one bad thing with another bad thing so that they can say on the label that it's grain free.
Yeah.
So I recommend doing a biologically appropriate diet, which is raw feeding. Um, there are, I know Hungry Like the Wolf, they have a lot of amazing raw feeding options. And then I have some recipes for people if they want to make it themselves and making sure that it's complete and balanced. But some things to look out for is not to get gross on you, but I always monitor my dog's poop.
Sure.
I don't think anything can tell you any more about your dog's health than their poop.
Yeah.
So like every morning when I take my dogs out, I'm always looking at their poop. Like, oh, the consistency is weird today. Like, oh, it's a little more darker than usual. Maybe they're getting too much offal. Or it's if it's really hard, like looking at your dog's poop is probably the best way to tell how their health is. And I know that sounds really weird, but I also know like if you're a dog parent, you probably understand where I'm coming from. So
Yeah, it extends to humans too. Like you talk about the gut and the gut biome and everything.
Mhm.
We just are, I guess, starting to understand the importance of that, and it's changing a lot of people's lives. So if you care about your
Yeah.
own health and the health of your animals, check out poop.
Yeah. But I would say some other symptoms to look out for are constant scratching, licking their paws, redness under their like armpits or in their belly,
Mhm.
and then eye boogers as well. Like if they have a lot of drainage from their eyes, that's a sign. Um, but a lot of these issues can also be other things too, like eye drainage. The first thing I think of when my dogs have eye drainage is oddly enough, like, are their bowls being washed regularly? What kind of like bowls are you feeding your dogs in? Because if you feed your dogs out of plastic bowls, eye drainage is really common because the chemicals in plastic can kind of create that. Because if you think about it, dogs are literally putting their entire face in their bowl. And so when they're eating out of like plastic, they're getting the chemicals like BHA. So I recommend always feeding dogs in stainless steel or glass, just to kind of prevent that. But yeah, eye boogers can also be a sign of allergies, and licking their paws or chewing on their paws.
And all of your treats and food, it sounds like it's not like you're just cranking them out of the kitchen and throwing them out there. You actually send this food away for testing?
So not every single
Sure.
batch.
Yeah, but
Um,
samples. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I first started my business, I established a relationship with Tentimus Labs. And I send out all of my recipes to them, and they do a guaranteed analysis for me. They give me a pH test, so that basically tells me the shelf life, if it's shelf stable, how long it's good for. And then they do a bunch of other tests as well, just for like quality assurance. So yes. I'm a big fan of them. They can pretty much do every single test under the planet. They have so many options. They can even test like probiotics for you and tell you like what different probiotics are in your products. So
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, well, I'm super excited to next time I'm at the farmer's market to come to your tent and grab some treats for our dog Missy and to introduce
Yeah.
Missy to you. Chances are we'll bring her with us, but we can find you at the Plains, in Warrenton, in Upperville, in Marshall, and
Yep.
you sell some retail out of Alexandria and Fredericksburg. Anywhere else?
Yep. Nope, that's all for now. Hopefully more places coming soon, but
Wonderful. And it's 4leafclover.net. And,
yeah.
Clarissa's got all kinds of information up here with a blog and FAQs, where to buy. You can shop online.
Yeah.
And where are you running your kitchen out of presently?
So my kitchen is located at 9 North 5th Street,
Mhm.
and you can also come by my kitchen and shop as well.
Cool.
I'm right across from Great Harvest Bread Co.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Clarissa. Well, thanks so much for taking the time this morning with me.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
we'll look forward to seeing you at the farmer's market.
Definitely. Thank you so much.